Horror-haunted scary story, the water from the hotel tap was dark, almost black. It wasn't just one sink. It was all of them. Guests had been complaining all morning. But when the maintenance man, George, turned the faucet in room 412, the smell hit him first. It wasn't rust. It wasn't dirt. It was something rotten. He filled a glass, looked closer, and saw a tiny black strand swirling inside. Everyone in the lobby was whispering now people had been brushing their teeth with that water, showering in it, drinking it. The manager tried to calm them down, but when George came running down from the rooftop hours later, his face was pale, his voice shaking. Everyone knew something terrible had happened. He could barely speak, just stammered. There's a body in the tank. The police were called. Reporters arrived. The whole building was surrounded. When they pulled open the heavy lid on the rooftop water tank, the smell spread through the air like poison. Inside was the body of a young woman. Her skin was pale, her eyes half open, her hair floating gently in the dark water. Her name was Elisa Lam. She had been missing for weeks. The strange thing? The rooftop door was locked, alarmed, and guarded by a camera, yet no one saw her go up there, and the tank itself was sealed tight. There was no way she could have climbed in alone. No one could explain it. And just as the workers stood there, frozen in shock, a loud clanging sound echoed from inside another tank behind them. They turned slowly toward it. The lid moved just a little. Weeks before that horrifying discovery, the hotel had already been giving people a bad feeling. The Cecil Hotel wasn't a place anyone stayed by choice. The walls were cracked. The wallpaper was peeling, and the hallways smelled of bleach and old smoke. It sat right in the middle of Los Angeles' downtown area, surrounded by noise and chaos. But inside, it felt strangely quiet, like time had stopped years ago. Elisa Lam checked in alone, carrying just a small backpack, and days passed. Guests complained of flickering lights and strange noises at night. One woman swore she saw a shadow move across her ceiling. Another said her TV turned on by itself and showed only static. A man on the third floor woke up to hear soft knocking on his door, 3 slow knocks, then silence. When he looked through the peephole, no one was there. The hotel staff brushed it off as bad wiring, old plumbing, and the usual city noise. But when the complaints about the dark water began, no one could ignore it anymore. On the day George climbed the metal ladder to the rooftop, the sky was gray, the air was heavy. The rooftop door alarm should have sounded when open, but it didn't. That was the first thing that bothered him. Then he noticed footprints, bare footprints, leading toward the water tanks. He followed them slowly, his heart pounding. The first tank was fine, the second too, but the third had its lid slightly tilted. He thought it was strange because he always kept them sealed tight. As he got closer, the smell hit him. He froze, staring down into the dark water. A pale hand floated up, brushing against the metal wall. He stumbled back, screaming. The police came quickly, but even they couldn't explain how she got there. The rooftop door could only be opened with a special key. There were no ladders nearby, no way to climb the tank from outside. Without help, the inside hatch was too narrow for someone to close it after getting in. Yet, somehow it was sealed. When detectives reviewed the elevator footage, they couldn't find anyone else in the hallway. It was as if she vanished into thin air. And yet, she hadn't. She was there the whole time, somewhere in that building. That night, long after the police left, the hotel's night manager, Laura, stayed behind to clean the lobby. She thought she heard someone walking on the floor above her, slow and steady. Even though the entire floor had been cleared out, she called out, "Hello?" but no one answered. The sound stopped. Then, just as she turned off the last light, she saw the elevator open on its own. Inside, the buttons for every floor were glowing red. Laura stood frozen. The door stayed open. A faint sound came from inside, a dripping noise, like water falling drop by drop. Then, from somewhere deep inside the elevator shaft, a woman's voice whispered, "Help me." The lights flickered once, twice, and then the elevator doors slammed shut, so hard the whole lobby shook. Laura screamed and ran for the exit. When she turned back, she could still see the elevator lights glowing one by one as it slowly began to move upward on its own. And somewhere far above, on the rooftop, The lid of the last water tank moved just a little. The next morning, the police returned to the Cecil Hotel to take more photos and collect evidence. But something strange had already happened overnight. All the rooftop security footage from between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. was gone. The officer in charge, Detective Mark Harris, asked the manager who had access to the recording system. No one did. The computer was kept in a locked office, and only the day manager had the key. But when Mark played the remaining footage, he noticed something chilling. At exactly 3:12 a.m., every hallway camera flickered, and for just 1 second, a blurry figure appeared on every screen at once, tall, thin, and standing completely still. Then the picture cut to black. George, the maintenance man who found the body, hadn't slept all night. His hands still trembled from what he'd seen in the tank. While police worked upstairs, he sat in the lobby, holding a cup of coffee that had gone cold. Laura, the night manager, came in looking pale. "You saw it too, didn't you?" she whispered. George nodded slowly. "The elevator moved by itself again at dawn," she said. "Stopped on the 4th floor. No one got out. No one got in." George rubbed his face. "We need to drain that water," he muttered. "All of it." But Laura didn't answer. She was staring past him, toward the elevator. Its doors were open again, waiting. Detective Mark went room to room, checking for anything that might explain Elisa's final hours. When he entered room 412, the air felt heavy. The blinds were drawn tight, though the sun outside was bright. Her belongings were neatly folded on the bed. A red hoodie, a notebook, and a plastic keycard. Everything seemed normal, until Mark looked closer at the mirror above the dresser. Words had been written on it in faint smears, as if traced by a wet finger. He leaned in. The words read, "I'm still here." He stepped back fast, nearly dropping his flashlight. There were no fingerprints, no residue, just those 3 words, slowly fading as if the mirror was breathing them away. He called for a forensic team, but when they arrived, the writing had vanished completely. "You sure you saw it?" one officer asked. Mark didn't answer. He was staring at the window, which was now open, even though he swore it was shut when he came in. Later that evening, the guests began to check out in a panic. The news had already spread across the city. "Body found in hotel water tank" was on every TV screen. Reporters crowded the entrance, filming the building, while curious onlookers tried to snap photos of the rooftop. Inside, the remaining staff whispered about quitting. The janitor said he heard someone humming in the empty laundry room. The bellboy claimed the lobby phone rang nonstop, but when he picked it up, no one was there, just a sound. Detective Mark Harris froze, his breath visible in the cold morning air. The 3 knocks from inside the sealed tank echoed to the rooftop like slow heartbeats. For a long moment, there was only silence, and then a single drip. Water began to leak from the edges of the tank lid, sliding across the concrete like thin veins of black ink. Mark's instincts told him to run, to call for backup, but something stronger held him in place. Curiosity, or maybe fear so deep it felt magnetic. He slowly reached for the lid. The metal was freezing to the touch. He lifted it just enough to peek inside. The water wasn't still anymore. It rippled in slow, deliberate circles, like something moving beneath the surface. His flashlight beam shook as he leaned closer. Suddenly, a pale face appeared just below the waterline, eyes open, staring straight at him. Mark gasped and stumbled backward, the lid crashing shut again. When he looked up, the face was gone. Only his reflection stared back at him in the tank's steel surface, but his reflection was smiling. He ran back down the stairs 2 at a time, bursting into the hallway. Officers were already gathered near room 412. The door stood open, yellow tape fluttering in the air. Inside, the room looked completely normal again, except for the wall above the bed. Someone had written 3 words there, using dripping black water. "Welcome back, Elisa." The handwriting was uneven, childlike. One of the officers swore he had checked that wall an hour ago, and it had been spotless. Laura, the night manager, was there too, trembling in the corner. "It started again last night," she whispered. The elevator kept coming to the 4th floor by itself. Doors opening, doors closing. No one inside. And I heard her voice detective. She kept saying, "Don't let him in." Mark frowned. "Who?" he asked. Laura's eyes filled with tears. The one she was running from. Before Mark could reply, the lights flickered. Every bulb in the hallway flashed 3 times, then went out completely. The building groaned as if something heavy had shifted inside its walls. Emergency lights glowed faint red,